how hard is it, Mr. District Attorney, to get this before the legislatures and get them to pass this type of stuff that seems like, to me and you, common sense? These gentlemen are up for election. They got to go back to their constituents, publicly knowing what you're trying to put out there. I mean, common sense tells me this is the thing to do. I mean, is it difficult to get it across to them?
Yeah, it is. For I guess every year I've been Attorney General, we've proposed what seems to me to be a common sense bill that would have headed off a lot of the activities that dominate the news today. If we had just passed a constitutional amendment that I began proposing 4 or 5 years ago that simply says we're going to let the people of Alabama decide if they want electronic bingo in their state. Had we done it when I first proposed it, we wouldn't even be having this debate that we're having today. We wouldn't, the headlines and the news wouldn't be dominated by this issue. It would be settled and we would have moved on. So to me, that just seems common sense. You have a difficult issue and you let the people decide it. It's their state. It's their law. You know, when we were debating whether we wanted $1 billion in new taxes, everybody was in favor of a vote. I don't understand why they're not in favor of a vote now. This issue certainly has certainly risen to be the focus of our state. And it's time to resolve it. And the place to resolve it is for the legislature to vote and let the people of Alabama vote. And let's be done with it and let's move on. If it's against the law, let's shut them all down and run it out of our state. And if it's not against the law, then let's get a more orderly process in our state than we have right now.
I'm glad you brought that up, Mr. Attorney General, because it just didn't make sense to a lot of folks about, they're running around scratching their head. How can one organization or one business be open for such a length of time that doesn't confide to what the statute is and the law, and then somebody comes in and builds another one and that one doesn't confide? And there's just so much confusion going on. Now, we had the opportunity to have your staff member, before you came in, explain to us the difference between a slot machine and a bingo machine, okay? It's quite evident what it is. And there are laws that are in certain counties and certain states or in the state. They all have their hold. And I've been a proponent at WKNI saying, if it's the law, obey the law. Change the law if you want to through legislation, but don't break the law to change the law. And this appears to be on both sides, okay? There's been some activity going on that's just mind-boggling. Waste of taxpayers' dollars, waste of business dollars, personal attacks of political people. You've been personally attacked on this several times already. What do you say to this? I mean, you've got to have, other than just making legislation, what's going on?
Well, not to. We could spend a 2 or 3 hour show talking about this, but I mean, suffice it to say, as the Attorney General, I took an oath to uphold the laws of our state, the way that they're written, and to enforce every one of them. And we have been faithfully doing that for the last 5 years. Unfortunately, the law in Alabama is not uniform. We've got 16, 17, 18 different local constitutional amendments that have been passed that change the law for one city or for one county. Y'all have one. And it's an incredible mishmash of laws. They're complicated, they're hard to understand, they're hard to enforce because law enforcement doesn't have the resources to examine computer motherboards and operating systems and figure out really what's going on. And so I've been an advocate all along to let's go back to a simple statement of the law. Let's get rid of all these amendments and let's go back to a simple statement of the law. Look, I'm opposed to gambling. I voted against the lottery. I'll vote against it if it's on the ballot again. But the only way I know to solve it in a principled way is to let the people of Alabama settle it. And my amendment simply says to prohibit electronic bingo in Alabama, yes or no. And the people of Alabama can have their say. And then we have marching orders, and we can go out and we can enforce the law. But this issue has become personal, it's become political, and it's not really serving the interest of justice right now. It's really time to let the law take center stage and sort through all of this.
Well, we heard in a press conference this morning that was held in Florala, Alabama by the mayor this morning, that they had signed with a company to come in and build a bingo parlor within the next 45 days. And we heard the attorney representing, and this, you have not been made privy to any of this, so please, I apologize. It's just coming out in conversation. But the attorney for the city, Wes Laird, stated that the Attorney General will have his opinion on this. You've already had an opinion on this, haven't you?
I've told him my opinion, and my opinion is I'm not picking on Florala. I'm not picking on the folks there. I just think you have to. I just think you have to follow the plain language of the law, and if you don't like it, there's a process to change it, and that's what I have tried to communicate to officials down there. I'm not trying to take away an economic development tool. I'm not trying to come in and treat them heavy-handed. I'm trying to offer my advice because I think that's what the Attorney General should do. I think it's my responsibility to try to give advice that hopefully, if people heed it and take it, avoids problems down the road. I've given my advice. I think that where you have a constitutional amendment that says bingo is a game played on a card, it means a card. That's what it meant when I was growing up. And this just doesn't seem like rocket science to me. But he's right. It's called advice or opinion for a reason. That's mine. I've shared it with them. If they choose to disregard it, there's nothing I can really do about that. But, I didn't do it to be heavy-handed or disadvantage them. I just did it because I hate to see in a time of budget constrictions and restraints, I just hate to see us spend money on lawyers and other things that could have been avoided. But I've given them my best advice, and it sounds like they're not going to take it.
Well, we appreciate you being straightforward as you always have been, and it just seems like things have just totally gotten out of hand on this, and it's no longer about jobs. It's no longer about making money for the community. It's become a pungent or poignant, whatever you call it, situation to create. It just doesn't make any sense.
Well, Eddie, it never should have been about jobs or economic development or charities. It never should have been about that. It should have been about the law all along. And when we, it's good if you do it and it creates jobs. Of course, that's good. I want to see people thrive, and the Wiregrass is home to me. So I especially like it when South Alabama sees prosperity come. But you cannot ignore the law. You can't say I'm going to engage in activity that's not authorized by law just because it's going to create jobs or because it's going to bring people into the community. You just can't do that. And this whole thing is just, it continues to get further and further out of hand, and it's going to continue to do so until either the Supreme Court issues a definitive ruling or the legislature lets the people vote. One of those two things is going to happen in order for us to bring some closure to this issue.
So do you think that now with this election time coming up that there'll be time for the legislatures to put that onto the ballot so it can be voted on?
I quit predicting what the legislature was going to do a long time ago. I have no idea. We have encouraged them. We've encouraged them to act, and we'll see. We'll see what this session brings.
We appreciate, again, everything that you've said and done today, and WKNI is always proud to be in your presence and be able to bring this type of stuff back to our viewership. Is there anything you'd like to share with the people of Covington County as far as upcoming, anything at all?
Hey, I don't know. It's such a privilege. For a boy that grew up in Elba to come out of the Wiregrass and get to help shape public policy in his state, to do the things that I've done that have measurably made my state a better place, is just an awesome, awesome privilege. And I've got so many friends all through the Wiregrass who have believed in me and who have stood with me, and it's a really good feeling to know that the people who know you best believe in you the most. And I'm glad to welcome you to Montgomery. You're always welcome here, and I hope to be back in your studio before very long.
We'll be proud to have you anytime, and anytime WKNI can be of service to you, let us know. And we look forward to hearing from Chris, you, or anybody in your staff to get the information to us, and we'll get it out there.
Sounds great. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you, sir.